Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Sencut Scepter. It is a knife that is available at the time that you're watching this video. I just checked the price, and the price is very good. In fact, that's probably the best thing about this knife. I'm going to link it right down below so you guys can check it out if you want. It does help my channel when you use my links, but that is entirely up to you. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. And thanks so much to Sencut for supplying this knife for review. Let's go ahead and get a measurement. Overall length of the Let's go ahead and get a measurement. Overall length of the Sencut Scepter coming in at 6.75 inches. Blade length is just shy of 3 inches, but be careful about that. It's really, really close, and depending on the situation, they might go ahead and call it 3 inches. So just be aware of that. Cutting edge, 2.75 inches. Just a couple of size comparisons today. Let's put it up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat, bless it, I can't wait to have my thumb strength back, Ontario Rat Model 2. Definitely closer to the size of the Rat 2, but still thinner and more compact. Just a couple more. Let's put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. There we go. A little shorter than the Para 3, but it does have about the same amount, maybe a little bit more cutting edge than the Para 3. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Bug Out. There we go. All right, how is the action on this guy? Sencut knives are made in China. It's the same company that creates WE knives and Civivi knives. They feel honestly identical to Civivi knives. The lock bar access is good. They've cut it above the show side scale, so it's easy to get at. It's also got some jimping there. No double clutch. Low profile flipper tab, but a properly tuned detent allows it to flip reliably and honestly very, it's really smooth. You can reverse flick it using the thumb studs. You can also just do regular, forward flick. This is one of those knives where I feel like had they gotten rid of the flipper tab, it just would have been better ergonomically. You can kind of choke up here, but I think that position would have been made more comfortable if they had just removed the flipper tab. But that's fine. Some people like, flippers, and it's not really in the way. So it's good. It's about what I expect. Carry profile. Let's put it up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here it's about, sorry, my camera shaking all over the place. It's about the same overall thickness, maybe a little bit thinner. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy's going to carry pretty easily, right? Nowhere near as long or tall as either. The height there, maximum height, nowhere near the hump on the Para 3, which is the one that most, readily compares to it. How about a hardware check? Let's get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. I believe the pivot is a T8, and actually the body screws are also T8. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. Pocket clip screws are going to be T6, no big deal there. Just a couple of body screws on each side. So, hey, that's awesome. T8 across the board, minimal hardware, should be very, very simple to take apart. Let's go ahead and do weight. You have your choice of, they come in like wood scales like these. You can also get G10, probably micarta. It seems like those are, all of the different materials that we usually get. What weighs 0.75? Let's reset this. That's incorrect. And can we zero out? There we go. Weight. By the way, materials here, 9CR 18 MOV, steel liners, and wood. It'll probably be pretty similar. I think the G10 is a little bit, why am I in pounds? Let's go to ounces. Sorry. 2.40 ounces, give or take a little bit for the G10, because I'm not sure. I would imagine G10 and micarta are lighter than wood, but I honestly don't know. So yeah, either way, this has fantastic ratios, and the balance is also very good. You can see there it's right. It's not right behind the pits. It's a little bit back, more, butt heavy, but still very, very good. 2.4 ounces of weight to roughly 3 inches of blade is pretty awesome. So no complaints there. And then finally, let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness here. Get out my calipers, which are also doing weird things. Here we go. So we have 114, probably 115 thousandths, which is about what I expect for a Sencut blade. Okay, this is certainly not something that anybody's never seen before, if I'm saying that correctly. Pretty straightforward handle design, pretty straightforward blade design. As far as ergonomics go, if your hands are about the size of mine, I wear an XL glove, you're going to be a little cramped in here trying to get a full grip on this. Then again, how often are you really going to need to hammer grip this knife like this? It's a little more comfortable if you choke up. It's okay. It's not the most amazing ergonomic lines I've ever experienced in my life. Again, I think removing the flipper tab would have made it a lot better. They also sort of hooked the butt end of the knife, which is not usually something that it's weird that they chose to shape the handle like this on a knife that really does not require a massive amount of lock-in. But if your hands are smaller, then this will be substantially more comfortable. The pocket clip is that typical goose face thing that they do with like every Civivi and Sencut knife and even some Wii knives. And I can feel it. It's the same, kind of thing. It's not an amazing, it's not like the most offensive hotspot in the world. I can definitely feel it. Overall, I'd give the ergonomic lines a C. It's not bad. It's just not amazing, but you can hold on to it and use it, and it functions just fine. The flipper tab and the thumb stud are placed really, really well, and nothing is in the cutting path. You can see they backed that thumb stud off so you can get right up behind the edge and push straight down and be just fine. As is the case with pretty much all Sencut and Civivi knives, the final cutting edge, the cutting geometry is very, very thin. 9CR 18 MOV steel is a perfectly acceptable composition. It is ingot formed, not powder formed. But it is a perfectly acceptable composition at this price point. And honestly, we even see knives upwards of like $60 still using it. It's fine. It's the 8CR 13 MOV, the 7CR 17 MOV, and the dreaded 3CR. Those are the CR steels that just nobody likes, right? 8CR 13 MOV is the equivalent to AUS 8 steel, which was much better a long time ago versus the competition of its time. But it's been outshined and outclassed by so many other budget steels that it just doesn't really have a place anymore, even in the ultra inexpensive territory, which I would absolutely put this in. 9CR 18 MOV steel is much better. That is it's actually one of the better budget steels that you can get. Good edge retention for this, perimeter. Great corrosion resistance. Very, very easy to sharpen, and it's pretty darn tough too. It's not, that steel is probably overkill for this knife, considering what you're going to do with it, but it's fine. The average person will be able to maintain this, touch it up, keep it free of corrosion pretty easily, right? And the geometry is just going to accentuate cutting performance. The blade has a tip. I don't know if we want to call this like a modified drop point. I don't know, whatever. I hate classifying blades, right? You can see it. This is the shape that it is. It's got a swedge up here. It's got a flat that runs out about 70% the length of the blade. Tip does taper out and get pretty thin. Don't be doing anything crazy with the tip of this knife because it'll definitely snap. But if you do knife stuff with it, like poking things that are not as hard as the blade, then it'll be fine. Slicing, no problem. The edge geometry is fantastic, and these are some of the best, like the Civivi and Sencut have some of the best production, like the factory edges in existence. It's just amazing. You go to there's a lot of knives that you can get on Amazon for right around the same price that are kind of weird, like who the heck is this company? And the edge they put on it is it's barely an edge, right? It's just steel that's thinner than the rest of the blade. But the edge that they put on Civivi knives and Sencut knives is honestly pretty great. They know how to get a good factory edge, and so it's nice. And the bevel, the final cutting bevel, is even, so as you continue to sharpen in the future, it'll be a lot easier to keep that bevel, consistent, and that's nice. So yeah, no issues there. I'm not a big fan of wood, so it's good that, they offer different scale materials. Not really a whole lot going on here. It's just flat, and they put this line in here, and that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say about it. The edges are chamfered down, which is good. There is a mounting position for lefties to mount the pocket clip over here. There's a lanyard hole. We got a couple of standoffs, pretty simple stuff. The pocket clip is not recessed into the scales, but at this price, I can't, I'm not going to complain. I'm not even going to complain about the clip anymore, right? It'll do its job. in and out of the pocket, nice and easy because this scale material is smooth. I think the G10 and my Carter ones, if they exist, are peel ply textured, especially the G10. So it might be a little bit different experience there, but marginal. The stops are actually internal. They're attached to the blade and they run on channels carved out of either side of the steel liners, which is nice. Creates for better lockup solidity while maintaining, a good level of smoothness. It's easy to get knives like that centered and have the good action, and it's smooth and it operates really. I just like that. It's an additional point of contact versus a traditional stop pin where it's just the tang of the blade touching the stop pin, right? We've got 2 pins contacting either side of the frame, which I like a little bit better. Lockup. Pretty thin, but coming in right about where you expect it. Good geometry, right? This obviously isn't a knife that you're going to want to go jamming into, a building and then trying to pry the framework away from it. It's not. That's a ridiculous thing. Don't do that. But it'll support this knife for what it is meant to do. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick. No pivot lash. Consistent in here. Nice detent. Centered blade. No detent lash either. This knife is pretty boring, but it does have one shining thing about it, and that's that it only costs 35 bucks, or at least when I checked just now on Amazon, I found that you could get this knife for $35. Really hard to complain, especially now when everything is just more money, right? Everything that we have loved in any tier, whether it's here in the budget world or we're talking about knives in the mid-range, right? And we're talking like, I say the mid-range to me is like $100 to $300. Or if we're talking about ultra high-end knives that are anywhere from $300 to freaking $10,000, right? Everything just costs more money. So it's pretty rare to find a nice knife, even if it is boring. It's pretty rare to find a nice knife in the 30s, right? 35 bucks, sure. Buy one. Buy one for yourself. Buy 5 of them and give them out to people who have crappy pocket knives or no pocket knives. This is fine. I'd like to see them do more. I'd like to see Sencut really attack that $30-something territory, because this is where I imagined they would be. With Civivi bumping up, Civivi used to make a lot of knives in the mid $40 price range. Now they make a lot of stuff that's like $55 to $80, right? Or more. And so when I heard that they were making like a budget brand, I was like, oh, cool. We're going to get knives that are like 30 bucks. Well, a lot of their stuff comes in at about the same price that Civivi knives come in, like the old Civivi knives came in at. So seeing Sencut hit this mark that I envisioned in my mind when I was first made aware of the company is really cool. I think this is excellent because, like everybody is on some sort of budget right now. And for some people, they just need a good knife to get them through, not their entire lives, but, I would say that, treated properly, this knife would easily last for 10 years. And at $35, holy crap, that's great. Let's say you're rough on it. It'll still last you, 3 to 5 years, and even at 3 to 5 years, 35 bucks, right? That's cool. I'd like to see them do more stuff like this. This is not a knife where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. You got to rush out and buy it right now. Everybody should have it, right? But there are people who will make good use of this and are going to be very happy to find out that it's a $35 knife. So for that reason, it will go on my cheap knives I like playlist, and I do recommend it, but it's not something that I'm like saying everybody should be going out of their way to buy this and nothing else. There are still great knives that are competitive with this one, and some of them are better designs. Just they have more welcoming to a broader audience ergonomics, right? They have, factors that are a little bit more unique, right? This is one of those knives where I'm like, it's cool, but also for like, $8 more or $10 more, you can get something really cool from Sencut. Even though I just complained about their $40-something knives, you can get, some really cool knives for just a little bit more. So it'd be nice to see them do something that, is not specifically like if your hands are the right size, like something that's just more welcoming to a broad audience and also incredibly inexpensive. I'd love for them to make a $35 knife that I could legitimately say everybody will love this, right? This is very good, though. I don't want to take away from that. I did not intend for this review to last for 15 minutes, but it did. That's going to be pretty much it today. This is likely something I'll end up giving away on a live stream. Thanks so much to Sencut for sending it in for me to take a look at. Like I said, it'll be linked right down below. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.